That's right, it's a medal with Rocky on it. It's a thing of absolute beauty. Now I have this, but I haven't yet earned it. For that, I have to go run a half marathon today. And so for that, I need two other things. My dog, which I have, and a rugged sports watch, which I also have. It's called a Garmin. But I'm going to be using my new Apple Watch Ultra because I am really trying hard to like this thing. Luckily, I've discovered an app for it that turns it from something that Apple should really be embarrassed to be marketing the way they are, because no one's climbing up a mountain or racing over a desert in this, into something that might actually be quite cool after all. That said, Apple shouldn't get too excited. This is still about as likely to get taken up Everest as Nixon is. No, because it's a proper mountain. You die. I have four big issues with the Apple Watch Ultra. Three of them are shared by Jen, who has the Apple Watch Series 8. And these are big, send it back, I don't want it issues. Looks, battery, displayed information during an activity, and ease of use during that activity. Looks. This is just me. Jen likes how her Series 8 in gold looks on her. In fact, she actually prefers it day to day to her Garmin Fenix. For me, I'm not going to go on about this because I covered it in depth in my last video. It is just not rugged enough. I like a watch to look roughy-tufty. This doesn't. But it's growing on me a bit. I don't think it looks great, but it's become tolerable. Battery. That last video I did, 90% of people's issues with this was the battery is still a bit of a joke, especially if you're doing things like ultra runs or mountain climbing. And as I said in that last video, it's not that the watch won't last for the event, it's that you need to be mindful of having a full charge before starting it. You can't just turn up without having thought about battery levels in a way that you can with other options. I don't climb, but I can imagine wandering around Everest base camp the night before you set off asking to borrow a charger doesn't go down well. The next two issues are where we both thought Apple has really messed up because they have created a device, both the Ultra and the regular watch, Series 8, that can do everything we want a sports watch to do in regards to tracking activities as they happen, but they choose to not have them do those things. They can stick the word Ultra on this in as large a font as they like, but out of the box, I wouldn't use it at a park run, let alone doing 40, 50, 60 miles or more on an ultra marathon. And that issue, along with the simple one of not being able to just easily hit buttons to operate crucial functions like start and stop, was looking like being a deal breaker until I read a comment on my last video. So she said basically, I might be in the minority, but I don't think there's a problem with having Apple pass the data the watch gathers over to a third-party app vendor if it then means that she gets to basically have the watch the way she wants it to be. And I thought, might have a point here. Here's me getting all worked up that the standard Apple Fitness app looks like it's been designed by a tech geek that thinks that bringing 2 lattes back from the coffee machine instead of 1 constitutes a heavy lifting session. Really, I should just leave it for the tech people to make the watch as clever as possible, Apple, and then have a third-party app vendor that does know their cadence from their cappuccino, take that data and present it in a useful way to me. So I have had the WorkOutDoors app running on the watch for a couple of days now, $5.99 app, and it might just have convinced me that this thing can actually be a legitimate sports watch. And don't be put off by the low price. When you consider that the replacement strap for this watch is £100, the app should cost 10 times what it does. It would still be a bargain then. Right, we are ready to go run. What I need from the watch at this point, or indeed on the start line of a race, is for it to tell me that it is ready, and a very simple way for me to start the process off. The Garmin obviously nailed that completely. The Apple Watch is now not far behind. Once those doors go up, the dog will go nuts. I cannot be messing about checking things on the watch. I need to better hit the thing and run. So here's how I do that now. So from my regular watch home screen, I've got a shortcut into the WorkOutDoors app. I then select running, because that's what we're going to do. At this point, I could do a fixed length run or a fixed distance time. I mean, I can basically set it up however I want. I could do interval sessions. I know what I'm doing today, half marathon, 21k. So I just pick an open workout. It's gone ping to tell me up the top that my heart rate monitor is connected because I'm running a chest strap at the moment with Bluetooth. I could use the wrist monitoring, but I've got a strap, so why not? Gives me a countdown option, don't need that. I can cancel it obviously, or I've got a nice big start button to hit to kick things off. Also tells me at the top it's got a good GPS lock, and I've got 88% of battery. Which basically means we're good to go. Do you want to run? You ready? Okay, hit start and we're off. Come on. Doesn't like postman. So we're able to set off at the door just fine. But now, in the activity, monitoring how I'm doing, this is where the Garmin would wipe the floor with the Apple Watch. I had mine set up, my Phoenix 7X, so that it would show me on multiple screens everything I wanted to know. Maybe screen 1 would be total time, total distance, heart rate. Screen 2 might be the map. Screen 3 maybe the specifics for the current lap I was on. Basically whatever I wanted. Couldn't do that with the Apple Watch. You simply had to take what was there in the format they presented it. But with the WorkOutDoors app, I'll show you how I set it up back in the office. But right now, I'm really liking it. I've got exactly what I had in the Garmin, pretty much. What I want, the way I want it. Come on, buddy, hustle. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm back. I had 21k to do there this morning, so while I get that done, let's have a look at how the app works on the phone. Now I'm going to whiz through this, but hopefully give you enough that you can see it's worth you doing what I did, which is basically set aside 2 hours, sit down and go through every setting and learn the app. That's all it takes, 2 hours, but it does take that. You can't just download it and expect to get everything out of it instantly. So let's chuck this up on screen. We open the app on the phone and you're presented with a bunch of different activities. I've only set it up so far for me to go running, but there is walking, cycling, hiking, golf, gym, horse riding, paddling, surfing. You're unlikely to find a shortfall of default activities. Let's go into running. As you can see, I've got it set up with 1, 2, 3, 4 screens at the moment. Let's set up a 5th so you can see how adding data works. Because don't forget the device, the watch is incredibly good at gathering information, the GPS tracking, all the sensors within the watch, detecting movement, the heart rate monitor if you're not using a strap. It's not that the watch doesn't know stuff, it's just getting it displayed. So, select a new screen and it has defaulted to the overview profile. You can choose others and you can then alter them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let's pick the activity profile. You then pick the layout. So you could have the map with data at the footer, the map with data down the side as well, lots of data, even more data. Also, depending on the size of the text you pick, it will then further refine that. So for example, if that's too much data, you could pick a bigger font size and bring it down a bit, or bring it down a lot. So by mixing and matching your layout and your text size, you can get the look that you are after for that screen. Let's keep it simple and have 4 fields. We're going to use that, and then simply a case of picking what we want to have on display. So for example, top box there, we've got percentage of calories burnt over the day. So ignore that nonsense. We can switch to anything. We've got categories down the side and then further filters, and then next to that a list of all the available metrics shown over on the right. And as you can see, if you select everything, you've got 649 options, and it really is as easy as just picking what you want. So let's say we want current lap time. So in the settings, I've already told the app to use going past every new kilometre as when a new lap will start. So how long since that last happened? We just pick time, current lap time, and then as the box describes, the time the current lap has been active. Done. Then below that, maybe let's put my heart rate data in, maybe my average heart rate. I mean, really whatever you want. There's 119 heart rate options, even going down as detailed as how much battery life is left in your heart rate sensor if you're using one. So let's stick average heart rate in there. And then what's really clever is you can even have one of these boxes as a button. So let's pick the bottom right one down there. Whatever button you want really, let's put in there, pause the workout. I have auto pause turned off. It's not a feature I like on any watch. So I can have a button there to pause it directly from the data screen. And you get the idea. You can have any information you want showing and even shortcuts to functions. You could even have graphical displays of everything from heart rate data to cadence to workout zones. And when you're done, you just save it and then send it to the watch. Done. When you first look at that setup screen, it does look a bit nuts, and the additional settings screen does look even worse. But make yourself a coffee, take 2 hours, it really is very simple. Okay, we're at almost 19k, and this is working well. Now, I've spent longer playing with the settings that I'll show you later that you'll have now seen than I have actually setting this up for a run the way I'd want it. Definitely if I was doing an ultra, I would want more metrics than what I've got showing on here right now. Maybe things like heart rate zones and stuff, distance to completion. But for this simple 21k run, I've got everything I need. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Let me show you how I've got it set up. Come on, dog. Okay, so I've got total elapsed time, 1 hour 46. Distance, 19.11k. We're doing a 5:34 average pace. And the bottom right pace there, 6:05. That's my last kilometre, just so I can make sure that the kilometre I've just done is not falling behind my average. In other words, I'm not slowing down. The reason it's a 6 is because we just had a hill. Simple swipe, and I've got my map, and another simple swipe. So I've got that screen set up just for lap data, current and last lap, just so it's a bit more of a how's it going right now snapshot. And then the last screen, just set it up for 2 buttons: stop the activity and pause. Yeah, really enjoying it. It's easy, flick of the wrist, nice and bright, all the information I want for this run. Obviously, because it's my Apple Watch, I've also been able to reply to a couple of texts while I was out, easily play my music, simple stuff you'd expect from a smartwatch. Dogs there, we'll go up here, up the hill. Yeah, it's a pity you can't use the buttons. I mean, the action button is a joke. It has a few limited settings, none of which are very useful. I'm hoping that an update to the firmware will allow you to do more things with that, like start and stop the bloody activity. How hard's that? Swiping across the display I don't like, but it does seem to work well, even with sweaty fingers. I did actually program the jog wheel to cycle through the displays. That worked well until it comes to the map screen, and then it wants to zoom in and out, which is its default function on that screen. I should mention why I'm doing this run. I was signed up for the Rocky 3 anniversary half marathon run by Enigma Running, but it took place 1 week after my ultra marathon, and my leg was still mangled from that, so I couldn't do it. And the guys at Enigma Running were incredibly nice and sent me the medal on the basis I'd run it virtually. So here I am, running it on my own, me and Nixon. It's a good job they did let me do that, actually, because if they hadn't let me do it, I wanted that medal so bad I'd have turned up and limped around that fucking thing. And talking of ultra marathons, the last feature to cover on the WorkOutDoors app is probably the most significant if you are ever going to go anywhere near running an actual ultra marathon. I'm not a regular ultra runner, but I've done a couple of 100Ks, a couple of 50Ks, and a handful of 20 milers across the Welsh mountains. And every single one of those events has not only provided a GPX file for the route in advance, they all strongly advise you download it, which out of the box you can't do on the Apple Watch. There is no way to import a GPX route as standard. I assume the girl in the advert is just navigating across Namibia by gut instinct. Now, if there was no way to get a route on this, I would not in a million years go near an event that provided one using this watch. Be embarrassing. Luckily, with the WorkOutDoors app, it's very, very simple. So the first option is you download one. Different providers of GPX routes do it in different ways, but this is the Limitless Trail website. I've done lots of runs with these guys. They always give a GPX route. So if we go to events, they got one coming up here, more information, and we scroll right down to the bottom, download. So 50-mile GPX file download. Download that, done. drag it onto the desktop. That was easy. The other way is you create your own GPX file. GPX.studio is one I've used before. Incredibly simple. Let's say I wanted to run from one roundabout to another roundabout. Not a very complicated route. You get the idea though. We then export it, download. There it is, new GPX file. So we've now got two GPX files on the desktop. How do we get those into the phone? Well, on Apple, pretty straightforward. Highlight them, share, airdrop, Mark's phone, ping. They're now on the phone, straight into the WorkOutDoors app. And that is it. It really doesn't get any easier than that on any device I've ever used. Send them to the watch, and now they will be sat inside my WorkOutDoors app on the watch. So this time, if I want to go for a run, actually first I need to turn the route on. So for that, very easy, just go into settings, and in the route options, pick the route. Done. And from there, if I now start an activity and I'm not on the route, the first thing it will do is tell me that I'm off route, because in the settings, I've told it that if I'm more than 50 meters off, let me know. You can adjust that distance up and down. The reason I don't have it lower than 50 meters is a lot of the time the GPX files you download are not necessarily 100% accurate. If it's been recorded using a slightly ropey GPS device, it might have cut some corners or thought it was in a slightly different position to where it was. So you often find yourself running along the only obvious path you could possibly be on the top of a mountain or something. There's no other path up there, but you look at your watch and you're 20 or 30 meters off. You don't want your watch constantly telling you you're off the route when you know you're fine. And of course, as soon as you get back on the route, it pings up and tells me that too. Also worth noting, all these app functions work perfectly fine on Jen's watch, a new Series 8. In fact, she has it set up with some interval training sessions today. She's at the gym doing that. So the watch will be basically guiding her through that session with, again, all the data on display, but this time pinging up when she needs to change to whatever her next interval is. She does a little heart rate training zone, so she has that on display. In fact, I'll be in the gym later doing a rowing workout. So before I go, I'm going to take 5 minutes and set up my rowing screens. And then tomorrow I'm on the bike, so going to be hooking up my Bluetooth power meter pedals to the watch. Oh, I've also got a 1 kilometer treadmill session to do in the gym later for reasons about to become obvious. And we are done. Actually, we're not done. I was so busy talking to camera. We've just run 20. We're a K short. I think he's done. I'll go run a K on the treadmill later on. It is not quite as rugged a watch as I would like, but it gave me everything I could possibly need out there. And yeah, now summary of everything, nice and neat and clear, distance, pace, into the whole lot. And when I hit done to save it, it will, I think, because I said, yeah, send it off to Strava. So I've started using a Strava account so that it collates all my data into the same place. You can get your workout data on the WorkOutDoors app on the phone, but I'd rather it was just somewhere that I can more easily use it, and Strava hopefully will do that. Okay, dog's got his water. I've got my medal. Yeah, I'm hesitating to say that I like it, but I don't dislike it. I thought I would. I thought the thing would have gone back within 24 hours of me getting it. No, I mean, not only has this not gone back within 24 hours, I mean, I don't want to speak too soon. I might keep it. It's hard to say. I'm wearing a Rocky medal. I'm in a very good mood.